Okay. All praise to Yahawah Ba'ad Shem, Mashiach Yahushai, Hallelujah. We thank the Most High Yahawah Ba'ad Shem, Yahushai, for another Shabbat, another Sabbath. And as the Most High teaches, rehearses righteous acts, that's what we're doing, rehearsing these righteous acts. In the spirit of Yahawah Ba'ad Shem, Mashiach Yahushai, and all praises to Yahawah Ba'ad Shem, Yahushai, and blessings and peace to the brothers, the 12 tribes of Israel, and all the Israelite camps and Israelite schools in Mashiach Yahushai. And let's see, we're going to start with Numbers 28. This is just concerning the new moon. And of course, the new moon is one of our high holy days, but like this, you know, the Most High teaches us, especially when you read, let's say, the books of Jubilees, and also in the scriptures. It says, we're destroyed for lack of knowledge. And the scriptures do teach us, and the history do teach us that if we don't, if we sin, and once we go into captivity and we follow the ways of the Gentiles, that the order of the high holy days and new moons will be disturbed. See? So this is why it's important for us to keep researching our ceremonial laws and high holy days, as well as our laws, statutes, and commandments the Most High gave to us. But we got to research. So the Most High give us this knowledge in stages. So that's why as we research, we're more and more finding out the understanding of the new moons, high holy days, the Sabbaths. But the Most High did tell us that if we follow the ways of the Gentiles, and the Most High kicked us out of our land and took our knowledge and wisdom from us. Why? Because we sinned. We bowed down to idol gods, and we went to the ways of the other nations. We followed the ways of the other nations. And the Most High said, once that happens, he says, you're no more going to have the understanding of what days the high holy days come in, the new moons and the Sabbaths. So all that would be disturbed. And it is disturbed. Okay, so this is why it's taking us years and years and years, and it's done in stages. The Most High has given us this wisdom to understand when our new moons come in and when our high holy days come in. But we're slowly finding out and slowly researching it and finding it out. And the Most High is uplifting us and giving us the wisdom and knowledge. Get Hosea 4 and 6. Let's start off with that, though. Hosea 4 and 6. Okay. Hosea 4 and 6.
The book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
See, so we're often destroyed for lack of knowledge. So it's not just talking about our identity, but it's also talking about the laws, statutes, commandments, the high holy days, the ceremonial laws. How do we worship the Most High? We're destroyed. We don't know how to worship the Most High. That's why we go into Christian churches and Roman Catholic churches and Muslim churches, temples and so forth, because we're destroyed for lack of knowledge. We don't know how do we search the Most High? How do we go get back to the Most High? Understand? So, but we're destroyed for lack of knowledge. We don't know how to do that. And so the Most High is showing us, one, our consistency in prayer, okay, and searching out the Most High. And of course, the Most High left us his spiritual book, the Holy Bible. Okay, so that's why we go into it to find out our identity, our understanding of who we are, where we came from, our land, our language, our customs, our culture. And this is what we're supposed to do. Go ahead, Art.
My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge.
Because we rejected the Most High. We weren't obedient. So if you're rebellious. The Most High teaches you rebellion is like the sin of witchcraft. So if you're rebellious, the Most High is saying, then it's like a rejection. Okay? It's like a child that rejects the order of his household that his father gives him. You're rebellious. So you're rejecting knowledge. Go ahead, Up.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee.
So that's why the Most High said, okay, so now you rejected knowledge, so I'm going to reject you, so you're not going to have the knowledge anymore. That's why you have Esau and other nations, they give us their knowledge, the worldly knowledge. You go to college, the curriculum is the worldly knowledge.
Good.
Okay, it's not the knowledge of the Most High, because the Most High said, well, you rejected my knowledge, so here, take the Gentiles' knowledge, which is wickedness, right? Which is evil. That's what the Most High is saying. So since you rejected knowledge, I'm going to reject you, and then you're not going to have the natural knowledge, the true knowledge, the holy knowledge that's going to preserve you and protect you. So therefore, this is what we get. Now we're running around with our pants hanging down our behinds. Black women walking around wearing pants. Black man walking around wearing dresses. Okay? We don't know a head from a hole in the ground. We don't know who we are. It's a fundamental right for a man to know what nation he comes from. We don't even know that. We don't know the fundamentals of nationality. We don't even know that. We don't know the fundamentals of language or nationality or land or nothing. We don't even know that. Every nation knows that about themselves. We don't even know that. See? Because the Most High said, I'm going to take it from you. So he took away our understanding of the new moons, high holy days. And he says, once you start to follow Gentiles, the order of that is going to be disturbed. And you're not going to have that knowledge no more. Okay, go ahead, huh? Is that it?
My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of Yahawah, I will also forget thy children.
Right, so here we are. And we are the children of the Most High, Yahawah, Yahweh. We're the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and we're forgotten. We're forgotten, dispersed in all the lands, all the regions of the whole planet Earth, all right, divided up all over the place. The Most High said, okay, I will forget you. So now here we are trying to begin to read the Bible, begin to understand what the Scripture is saying, and trying to find out when's the new moon, when's the true new moon. Not when Esau says it is, not when their Julian calendar says it is, not when that Gregorian calendar say it is, but when is the true new moons and high holy days of the Most High. And here we are desperately trying to find out. But we're going to find out, but it's going to take us some diligence. Okay, the Most High ain't going to give it to you overnight. It's going to take you some diligence. You got to research. Because why? Now the Most High is going to make you work for it. When it was given to us from the Most High directly, when we came out of Egypt, what did the Most High do? He gave us his ceremonial laws. Read Leviticus 23rd chapter. He gave us the Sabbath, the new moons. He gave us everything right then and there. Boom! Gave it to Moses. Moses came down and gave it to the children of Israel. And we had it. And we blew it because of our sin. That's why we're in the wilderness for 40 years. We blew it. We blew it from the time we came out of Egypt. Okay? We started bowing down. As soon as we came out of Egypt, we started bowing down to idols and everything. And it hasn't changed since then, right? And we're still doing that today in America. The second Egypt. Okay? Okay, then get, what is it, Proverbs 4 and 7? Proverbs 4 and 7. So this is why the Most High says, wisdom is the principal thing. Okay? And we're talking about true wisdom. This is the Most High saying. Go ahead, huh?
The book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 7. Wisdom is the principal thing.
Which means the primary thing. Come? Wisdom is the primary thing. That's what it's talking about. Go ahead, huh?
Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom.
They get it. But it's not talking about the wisdom of the world. Somebody say, okay, I'll go to college. I'll learn how to be a lawyer, right, which is witchcraft. I'll learn how to be a doctor, which is witchcraft again. I'll learn psychology and learn how to be a psychiatrist, which is witchcraft again. Understand? All you really need now in this society today is a little trade.
Cool.
Let's get a trade. Learn how to be a chef. Learn how to be a construction worker. Maybe an electrician, plumbing, or whatever. Get a trade. But to go into Esau schools and colleges, what does that do?
Put you in debt.
Put you in debt, right? Put you in debt, and you go further and further into the worldly society, worldly wisdom, into witchcraft. That's what it is. Okay? You want to become a theologian, the study of theory, which is nothing but what? A hypothetical guess. That's all theory is, nothing but a guess.
Going to cemetery school.
Going to cemetery school, right. So it's not truth. Theological school meaning you're guessing what the Most High is saying in the scriptures. And that's why they have December 25th as Yahawah's birthday when it's not. They have Easter, with bunnies lay eggs. They have Easter, saying Easter Sunday is when he rose or whatever. When it's not. And so forth and so on. Because that's theory you're getting. And you're getting lies. Okay? So wisdom is the principal thing. Keep going up.
Wisdom is the principal thing thereof. Get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding.
Well, that's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to get understanding. Okay? And the Most High is going to give it to us, but we got to be diligent. Okay? And research. Okay? Find out the ways of the Most High. The Most High teaches you wisdom cannot dwell in a malicious soul, in an evil and wicked soul. So you running around into evil and wickedness and selling out and taking the ways of this society, which is Satan, then the Most High wisdom ain't going to dwell with you. Now you'll have the wisdom of the world, wisdom of Satan, but that's not the wisdom of the Most High. Okay? So this is what the Most High is saying.
I got a precept.
Okay, go on.
This is the book of Job, chapter 8. I'm just lock it, yeah. The book of Job, chapter 8, verse 8 and 9. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers. For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing, because our days upon earth are a shadow.
Right. So inquire the former age. How about that? So we're talking about true wisdom, right? So inquire of your past. How come our people are afraid to really go into the past? And we're not talking about the immediate past. We're not talking about just to the civil rights movement and that's it. That's what our people like to do, right? That's all they teach in school, right? They only teach you about the civil rights movement, but you never go further back than that. You got to go back into ancient history, man. You got to go back into biblical history. Go back into ancient history. You're going to learn about your past. And we're not talking about Egyptian history. We're not talking about Babylonian history. We're talking about your history, Israelite history.
That's right.
Now, on the way now, when you learn your history, you're going to learn about Egyptian history because we were in Egypt as slaves. Okay? You're going to learn about Babylonian history. Why? Because we were slaves in Babylon. You're going to learn about the Persian Mede history because why? We were slaves under the Persian Medes. And you're going to learn about the Greco-Roman history because we were slaves under the Greco-Roman Empire. So you're going to learn about all that history, and you're going to find out that you were the primary and the principal target in those histories, under those regimes, under those empires. And the Assyrian Empire, same thing. We were slaves under the Canaanite Empire. We were slaves under them. Moabite Empire, Ammonite Empire. We were slaves under all these nations, man. Okay? So when you read about all those nations in ancient history, you're going to find out you played an integral part. Why? Because you were the Israelites they had in captivity. Okay, when you go into biblical history.
Salakia.
Yeah, go ahead.
Also, regardless of what your Christian pastor says, you got to go into this Old Testament because you're leaving out a whole bunch of history and you're leaving out how we went into such folly and why we were being punished and captives under these other empires as the elder just expounded upon. So inquiring of the former age, it requires you to go into the Old Testament and find out your history and the mystery of who you are.
Right. So that's the key, finding out who you are. Get, what is it? Isaiah 33 and 6. Isaiah 33 and 6.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 33, verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahawah is his treasure.
Right, see? Wisdom and knowledge is the stability of thy times. Right? Is the stability of thy times. So how does a man become stable? How do you become stable? By acquiring the wisdom of the Most High.
Come.
That's how you become stable. Now you may say, well, man, but I got wisdom. I went to college. I got a degree. I got this. I got money. See, if you notice, people who have degrees and money and so forth are some of the most unstable people there are. How about that? Come? They're some of the most unstable people there are. Now, the Most High is not saying don't go to school to get a trade. He's not saying that. But that's all you need is a trade. You go a 4-year, 6-year, 8-year, in some cases, you spend over $100,000, $150,000, and now you're in debt for the rest of your life. Some of you can't even pay it back, and you got a degree. And now they're coming out with degrees, and they're only going to start you off with what? $20 an hour, which is nothing in this society today. So what's the true wisdom that makes you stable? The knowledge of the Most High. See? The holy, spiritual, pure knowledge of the Most High. His laws, statutes, commandments, being obedient. Okay? Ceremonial laws. The pure knowledge of the Most High. Okay? Now, let's get this one in the Apocrypha, right? Ecclesiasticus 1:26. Okay, Ecclesiasticus 1:26 in the Apocrypha, right?
The book of Ecclesiasticus 1:26. If thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments.
The Most High says. Now, you think wisdom is learning the ways of the Gentiles, learning the ways of what the curriculum of this society and what Esau puts out there. You think that's wisdom, okay? That's not wisdom. You're a fool. That's not wisdom. And the Most High said it plainly. If you desire wisdom, keep the commandments. How about that? Okay? Keep the commandments. If you desire it, do you desire it? Our people don't desire it because you think that wisdom, the wisdom of the world is desirable wisdom. It's not. The Most High saying desire wisdom, meaning biblical wisdom, spiritual wisdom. That's what he's talking about. If you desire that, then begin to keep the commandments. Everything is based off keeping the commandments. How about that? Everything. It's based off the laws, being obedient.
Come on.
Because if you're obedient to the Most High's commandment, then the Most High will increase your wisdom and knowledge in your life. And the Most High will direct your paths and guide you to where you're supposed to go.
Come.
See, that's wisdom. And that's what you want. Direction, guidance from the Most High spiritually every day. Especially in these trials and tribulations that we're going to go through. Especially when the time of Jacob's trouble. We want Yahawah to guide us. Okay? All right, go ahead, Doctor.
If thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments, and Yahawah shall give her unto thee. For fear of Yahawah is wisdom, and instruction, and faith, and meekness are his delight.
All right, see, the fear of the Most High is wisdom. How about that? Meaning, when you respect the Most High will give you wisdom and knowledge.
That's right.
He will give you wisdom and knowledge. See, the fear of the Most High is wisdom and knowledge. Okay? Go ahead. Was that it?
Yeah.
Right? And I want the one where it says, I think it's in Deuteronomy, where the Most High says it's the commandments is our wisdom. Remember that scripture? The commandments is our wisdom and knowledge. I got it here. Okay, here it is. All right, Deuteronomy 4 and 5. Start with Deuteronomy 4 and 5.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and 5. But ye that did cleave unto Yahawah, your power.
Is that it? Deuteronomy
4 and 5.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you want 4 and 6? I got it.
What is this? Behold, I have taught you.
Yeah, that's 4 and 5. I'm reading it.
Okay, good. 5, yeah.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahawah, my power, commanded me, that ye should do so, in the land whither ye go to possess it.
So we were coming out of Egypt, we were taught laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay? That was what the Most High commanded us to do, to be taught and to receive. All right? That's why he said, become like a child. Right? For such is the kingdom of heaven. Why become like a child? Because a child receives instruction and then follows what they're supposed to do. Come? Like a child. They receive instruction, and you tell a child what to do, we're going to go do it. Right, Con? That's what we're supposed to do. So what is this leaning upon your own mind and I think this and I think that? Most I said, many deceived by their own vain opinion. Most I don't care about what you think. He don't care what you think. What you think doesn't matter to Most High. The Most High already gave us, you know what I'm saying, what we should be thinking upon. Con? Okay? Long as what you think is in the realm of the Most High's law, statute, commandments. This is what the Most High wants. Okay? Go ahead, Up.
Keep therefore and do them.
Do what?
Keep therefore and do them.
What?
Keep therefore and do them.
That commandment never changed. Okay? And it still hasn't changed. We're in America today, that hasn't changed. You didn't do them. Okay, going up.
For this is your wisdom and your understanding.
So you want wisdom, right? He said, keep the commandments. Come? Keep the commandments. Let me say, how come I don't have no wisdom? How come I can't direct myself into blessings? Understand? Because the Most High said, you haven't kept the commandments yet. See? And so there it is. Keep therefore and do them. This is your wisdom. Right? The commandments. Going up.
Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
How about that? So the nations knew that if they could get us and force us to not keep the commandments, meaning lure us into their ways, break the commandments, they knew that the Most High would take our wisdom and knowledge from us. And we wouldn't be able to serve the Most High in righteousness. They knew this. So that's why they teach you Christianity, they teach you religion, to keep you far away from the Most High. They teach you religion and the church systems have their philosophical ideas of the Most High. They do that on purpose. Okay? Esau's system is totally contrary to the Most High. Totally contrary. So they do that because they know when you get the correct wisdom and the pure wisdom from the Most High, that is your understanding. That's on the pure laws and statutes, that's your wisdom to the Most High, okay? Go ahead, Up.
And say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
And that's what the nations are going to say. See, when we begin, we as a people, the 12 tribes of Israel, begin to keep the commandments, the nations are going to look down upon us and say, surely this is a wise and understanding people. That's the Most High's people right there. But why don't they do that now? Because we're not doing that. We're not following the ways of the Most High. So the nations say, this can't be the people. Not with their pants hanging down there behind. Not when you got lesbians and homosexuals and all this stuff running around rampant in society. You got religion. You got idolatry, okay, running rampant. You got a dysfunction community, okay? So they said, this can't be the people. There's no way. Understand? Yeah, but they know that we are, but they look upon us today and say, wait a minute, this is the people of the Most High? Because we're not following the commandments, okay? Was that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay? So we have to begin to follow the commandments of the Most High. So now get to one in James. It says, if anybody lack wisdom, right? I think it's James 1 or something, or James 4. Anybody lack wisdom, let him do what? Ask of the Most High. How come we don't do that enough? Right? How come we don't do that enough? What is that? James 1 and 5.
The book of James, chapter 1, verse 5. If any of you lack wisdom...
If you lack it, and we know we all lack it, right, Con? So, I don't hear nobody saying, I don't lack it. I know, I got wisdom. I know the most. Nah, you don't have wisdom. You don't have what the Most High is saying, the wisdom of the Most High. Okay? We all lack it, because we all come short of the glory of the Most High Yahawah from Yahawah. We all come short. So don't tell me you got it and we all lack it and you have it. No, we all lack it. Come? So do what? Say it again.
If any man lack wisdom, let him ask of Yahawah, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him.
But we see, we don't ask enough. And Yahawah said, ask and it shall be given. But we don't ask. But that's the first thing when Solomon became king. What's the first thing he asked for?
Wisdom.
He asked for that wisdom, man. He didn't ask for a bunch of money. He didn't ask for protection from his enemies. He didn't ask for a bunch of women. He didn't ask for a whole bunch of material things, right? He just asked for wisdom and for the Most High to guide him so he can judge the people correctly. See, that's what we should be doing now. Asking for wisdom as a nation, and also for the nation to come back together and to gain wisdom. How can we come back together and serve the Most High in righteousness? That's what we should be asking for as a nation. Not only in your families, but also as a nation. So you pray for your families initially and so forth, right? But then you pray for the nation to come back together. Because you pray for your family by itself, okay, that's just your family. So what about the whole nation?
Come.
Understand? We need the whole nation to come together. And then ask for that wisdom for the Most High to show us. Because in these last days, they're coming after us as a nation. That's why you see the people dropping dead like flies now. They're coming directly for the nation of Israel. These so-called Negroes, West Indian, Haitian, Puerto Rican, North American Indians, South American Indians. See, they're coming for us directly. Our people. So they and you say, well, you might just drop in like flies too. Yeah, but they don't care about that. That's collateral damage. They don't care about. They have to go to their poor white folk to get to us. If they have to do it that way, they will do it. They don't care. And it's coming down like that. And all these young people catching cancer at 30 years of age. What is this? Cancer at 30 years of age? That's too young. You're having a heart, what they call myocarditis, heart inflammation and all that at 30 years of age. Palpitation at 30 years of age. Come on, man. At 30 years of age, when you read the scriptures, we were like babies. When a man lived to be 120 years of age.
Yeah.
You know, Isaac lived to be 180. Imagine him at 30 years of age. That's a baby still. Even at 50 or 60 years of age, he's still a baby.
His wife, he felt his wife still desirable.
Still desirable, right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And she was, what, 100?
Yeah. Okay. Abraham lived to be 175. Okay. Sarah, at her age, had a baby, right? How about that? Can a woman today at 99, 100 years old have a baby? Your woman's finished. You have no baby. You can barely have a baby at like 30. You know what I'm saying? Because you got all kinds of womb issues, right? All kinds of issues like that. All kinds of diseases that affect you. So the same thing with our people, man. So if you lack wisdom, we have to begin to ask the Most High. Go ahead, Doc. 5 again.
If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of Yahawah, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed.
Right. See, you don't know if you want wisdom or not. You're too wavering. See, you got to be sure that you want this thing, because the Most High, He gonna give it to you, and sometimes the Most High give it to you through what? Trials and tribulations. So they think, okay, you ask the Most High, and it's supposed to be boom right there. No, sometimes the Most High gonna put you through some things.
Okay.
He's gonna allow you to gain wisdom, but He's gonna put you through experiences to get it. Come.
Okay.
It ain't going to be just right then and there. And then what you going to do with it if you get it right then and there? Mess it up, spoil it, destroy it. Understand? So the Most High give it to you through experience so you can learn. So you can gain maturity and experience. Understand? That's what the Most High wants to see. That's what he wants to do. So now, with that, we're saying now with the new moon, the Hebrew word is Kadash. Okay? This is the word here. I don't know if they can see it, but Kadash. New moon, Kadash. Actually, moon in Hebrew by itself is Yarak. But when you say new moon, you're talking about Chadash. Gun? So we're saying Chadash, even in the Hebrew. When you look in the original Hebrew, for the word new moon, it'll just say Chadash. When you have the word moon, which means Yarak, but when it's talking about the new moon, it'll say Chadash, which means new or new moon. Okay? The word Chadash also means new. So we're talking about the new moon, right? So new moon marks what? The beginning. So Numbers 28:1 marks the beginning of the month, Hebrew month. Begins with the sighting of a sliver of light from the new moon, right? The seasons and time of feast are determined by the new moon. Because why? We were people that were observant. We observed the signs of heaven, the moon and the sun and the stars of heaven. God, the Most High gave it to us for us so we could observe it as a people and begin to observe the feast and high holy days. Come? So this is why we were that type of people. So when you say, well, I got my calendar at home and the calendar says such and such, well, yeah, but that calendar was made by the Gentiles. Come? It was made by the Gentiles. In this current society, you got the Gregorian calendar and the Julian calendar. That was made by the Gentiles. Come? So, yeah, you may go with that for reference, but with the Most High, it's the observation of the signs of the heavens. Come? You have to understand that. Okay, so now in Numbers 28:1, when you read that, go ahead.
The book of Numbers, chapter 28, verse 1. And Yahawah spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel, and say unto them, My offering and my bread for my sacrifices made by fire for a sweet savor unto me shall ye observe to offer unto me in their due season.
Okay, so in their due season. Okay, so their offering and the sacrifice of the Most High in their due season. And just read that next verse.
And thou shalt say unto them, This is the offering made by fire, which ye shall offer unto Yahawah, 2 lambs of the first year without spot, day by day, for a continual burnt offering.
Right, okay. And you can see, then you're going to jump down to 9th verse. And you can see also on the high holy days and new moons, we always had a sacrifice. We always had a burnt offering. Okay. Go ahead, Ak. Just read
Verse
that.
9. And on the Sabbath day, 2 lambs of the first year without spot, and 2 tenth deals of flour for a meat offering mingled with oil, and the drink offering thereof.
And what does it say on the Sabbath? How about, do we do that now on the Sabbath? No, we don't do that. See, this is part of the custom and the culture, right? We don't offer nothing on the Sabbath. Okay, we try to recognize the Sabbath now, but we don't offer anything because we don't do those sacrifices no more. But actually, this is still part of the law. All this is coming back when we get back into Jerusalem, get back into our land as the Hebrews. All this is coming back. We don't do it now because Yahawah did away with it for a while, the sacrifices. Why? Because he's the ultimate sacrifice. So it's all coming back. Understand? The sacrifices of the Most High are coming back. Okay? Go ahead, Al.
Verse 10. This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath, beside the continual burnt offering and his drink offering.
Okay, read the 11th verse.
And in the beginnings of your months.
What is that?
In the beginnings of your months.
When is that?
In the beginnings of your months.
And what do we call it? The new moon. Come. The beginnings of it. Not January 1st, not the first of the month. That's the Gregorian calendar, right?
Come.
But with the Most High, it's the beginning of your months. Okay? Beginnings of your months, the new moon, Kadash. Okay, come. Go ahead.
Ye shall offer a burnt offering unto Yahawah, 2 young bullocks, and 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year without spot. And
okay, so that's it. Just showing you the beginning. So when the new moon would come, you would offer a burnt offering also. And this was the custom of Israel. All that is coming back. So there's a lot we still don't know of our custom and culture, what the Most High gave us. Okay, so he said a whole lot. So then he say, seek wisdom, right? Wisdom is the principal thing, so here it is. There's a whole lot that we got to learn, right? And then when you get Numbers 10 and 10, see, and so this is why we're saying that the new moon, it's easier for us to understand when the new moon comes in, when it hangs over Jerusalem, because that's the Most High's house. Okay? That's where the Most High dwells. We're going to show you that. That's where the Most High dwells. Numbers 10 and 10.
The book of Numbers, chapter 10, verse 10. Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginnings of your months, ye shall blow with the trumpet over your burnt offerings, and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your power. I am Yahawah, your power.
Right, see? At the beginning, also in the beginning, in the gladness and in the solemn days, the beginnings of your months. That's Kodash, new moon. Kan?
Come.
All right? The word for moon is Yarach, but when it's put together in the Hebrew as new moon, it'll just say Kodash, meaning new. Okay? And then, of course, the word for new is Kodash by itself. Kan?
Come.
So this is what the Most High is teaching us. And don't let the brothers tell you not to learn your language. See, how do we know that if we didn't go into the Hebrew? Well, you hear some of these camps say you don't need the Hebrew. Well, how do we know that then? You got to go into the Hebrew.
Come.
And yeah, we know we're not going to be, some of us ain't going to be able to speak it, fluently. But just to say Yahawah B'Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah, that's a blessing in the original tongue. And that goes to the Most High. That blesses. And then, of course, for the woman, Yahawah B'Hashem Yahweh Shai Shema Thah. We say to the woman, watch over you. Most High watch over you in the name of Yahweh Shai. That goes a long way because why? In the original tongue, the force is greater. The spiritual force of the Hebrew is greater. It goes to the Most High. Come. So how could a brother say don't learn your language? That's madness. Your language and your identity is synonymous. They go together. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. Come. Understand? It goes together. Same thing with Chinese go together with the Chinese people. Same thing, Japanese language go with Japanese. Arabic goes with who? The Arabs. Okay? It's synonymous with them. So you'll hear that though, but don't believe the hype. Okay, and then Psalms 81 and 3. Psalms 81 and 3. Very important. Because the new moon marked the signs of the beginning of the months. And from there, that's how we're able to understand when the high holy days are supposed to come in. Because you count from the first day of the month into whatever the high holy day is, you count. You do you're counting from the new moon. See, it's simple. Okay, go ahead, Al.
The book of Psalms, chapter 81, verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day.
They blow up the trumpet in the new moon, the time appointed, right? Which is the beginning, which we know with the new moon, we have the different phases of the moon. Okay? They would tell you there's 8 phases to it. And these 8 phases, Esau has these 8 phases, right? And this is Esau's name for the phases, okay? This is what he calls it, but but there's 8 phases to it. But remember, this is what Esau calls it. Well, new moon is the one phase, right? When the moon is all dark, that's one phase. Then they got what they call the waxing crescent. That's when you see that sliver come in. That's how we know it's a new moon, because we can see it. Because all dark moon you can't see, can't see all dark moon. But when you see that little sliver, you say, okay, so that's the new moon. Why we say that? Because we observe the heavens. Okay, we observe it. And then you have what they call the first quarter, okay, of the moon. Then you have what they call a waxing gibbous. Okay, then you got the full moon. Full moon is all bright. You can see that clear, right? It's all bright. Then you got the waning gibbous. And then you got the third quarter. And then you got the waning crescent. So the moon goes through those phases. So it goes from the new moon, right? And then it goes all the way through the phases, through those different quarters, all the way to a full moon, and then it going down again to that third quarter, and then it goes all the way dark again, and then it comes back at the new moon. But those are Esau's names for those phases, okay?
Good.
That's not what you read in the scriptures. You'll read the new moon in the scriptures, and of course in the Hebrew it's Kadash. Okay, Kun? So you have, and then you have what? You have 1 month lunar cycle, which is 29 1/4 days. Kun? But it is common for the month to alternate between 29 and 30 days also. Kun? For 3 months, you would have 29 1/4 days. For another 3 months, you have 30 days. And then it goes back to another 29 1/4 days for 3 months. Okay. A lunar year is 354 days. So the cycles of the moon for the whole year would be a total of 354 days. This makes it 10 days shorter than the solar year, which is 364. Which is, of course, the sun, right? The solar is the sun, the lunar is the moon. The moon is 354 days. The sun is 300. Solar year 364 days, which is 10 days. The moon is 10 days shorter as far as a year. This is why you have what they call what? A leap year. So that it can catch up with itself, right? The years can catch up with itself. This is why when you are gathering the understanding of the high holy days, you must take into account the leap year. Our forefathers did that. They took into account the leap year because the leap year brought everything back into order. So the Most High put that leap year in. So because of the 10 days that is shorter from 354, and then you got 364 the solar years, you got 10 days shorter. The moon is always behind. But when you add that leap year, it catches up. It catches up to itself. So that's the 1 month lunar cycle, 29 1/4 days, and some months is 30 days. All right. So read that Psalms 81 again.
The book of Psalms, chapter 81, verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Yahawah, and a law of the power of Jacob.
See what the Most High says? A statute and a law. So again, like earlier, what we were saying, seek wisdom, right? Wisdom is the principal thing, right? And the Most High teaches us what? That wisdom, the nations are going to know us, that we're the children of the Most High when we do what? Keep the commandments, because that's our wisdom. So here the Most High says that's a statute forever. Good. This is our wisdom. So we got to learn these things. Understand? Rather than learn, what the latest rapper is singing about. Understand? or what, what they're saying on TikTok or whatever. They try and do away with TikTok. You know why they try to do away with TikTok? It offers too much information. Understand? Because TikTok is owned by some Chinese guy from Singapore, right? And they don't confine you to limits on what you could say. Understand? TikTok, you can just bring out the truth. You can bring out everything, right? But Facebook limits you. YouTube bans you if you say one word.
They limit your freedom of speech.
They limit your freedom of speech.
So there's no freedom of speech on those other platforms.
Yeah, Google, whatever, all these other apps, they limit you because they're from America. But TikTok, no.
Right. Can't control
So he said, wait a minute. He said, wait a minute, man.
Yeah.
So they're trying to ban it.
Can't control it.
They can't. They can't control it. Understand? But still, we as the Hebrews, we have to understand our wisdom is what the Scriptures is teaching us. That's our wisdom, and they can't ban that from us. Right? They can only try to hide it from us, but they can't ban it from us. See? Because the Bible is out there, right? Right? Bible is the most known book in all the world, all the earth. It's the most sold book in all the earth. Bible comes from the word biblios, from the Latin biblios, means books. Because as many books the Most High had, the prophets gather the books and put it together, right? It means biblios. That's what it is. Most High, and this is the Most High in Yahawah, this is the Most High's book. And the Most High brought his word from the heavens down into the earth and put it in book form. This book is alive. And it was given to us by the inspiration of the Most High through the prophets, which you understand that the Most High wrote the Bible. Of course, he had man actually do the writing, but the Most High, he said, Ezra, come on, I'm going to tell you what to write. He said, but Ezra, the last thing I told you to write, just hide that, because they're not going to understand that. But the other things I told you to write, put that out there for man to understand. Ezra wrote over 200-something books. Certain things he had to keep because it was too high for the people. They wouldn't be able to understand it. Who understands Revelation today? Not too many of us, right? Right? But in these last days, the Most High is going to give it to brothers to understand the book of Revelation because we're in that time. Understand? He told Daniel, stand in your lot, Daniel. Okay? He says, seal the book. But stand in your lot, Daniel, because in the last days you're going to come back. And you're going to reveal this understanding, and reveal this truth. Tell Daniel that. Read the book of Daniel, the last chapter. Understand? The word revelation means apocalypse, meaning to disclose. Why did he reveal revelations at that time? Now, John wrote it, but even John had a hard time. He wrote down what the Most High said right. What Yahawah said right, come. But he had a hard time. John had to go into the spiritual world to understand what he was looking at. Come? He seen a beast come out of the waters with 7 heads and 10. What the heck is that? Could you live through that? You couldn't live through that right now. Come? John's like, what the heck is that? You know what I'm saying? You would fall down and drop dead. Understand? So Moses had to close it up until the time of the end for it to be what? Disclosed. But he said, only Yahawah who had the power to open up the 7 seals. Right? Can you open them up? No, you can't. I can't. Nobody can. Only Yahawah. And Yahawah gives it to who he wants to give it to, the understanding of it, who he wants to understand it. See? So that was it on that one. And then you're going to go to, let's see. You're going to go to Exodus 12 and 1. Exodus 12 and 1. So this is us coming out of Egypt, right, Con? And the Most High has given us, isn't that something? Direct from the Most High. When Moses went up to the mountain, Moses had the stones, right? And the Most High wrote the 10 Commandments and carved it out and gave it to Moses. Most High's own handwriting. How do you think the Most High can't write? When he created you, right? He gave you hands where you could write. So what? The Most High don't have hands? He can't write nothing? That's what he told Moses. He said, Moses, who created man's ears and eyes and noses? So if the Most High created your ears, eyes, and noses, and hands and body, then the Most High got a body too. Huh? He got what we got because he created us in his what? In his image. Most High got hands. You got arms, you got legs, eyes, but the eyes of the Most High are 10,000 times stronger than the sun.
That's right.
See? But he got eyes, he can see, and he can hear. So everything you say in secret, what the Most High don't hear it? The Most High hear it. Right? Go ahead, huh?
The book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 1. And Yahawah spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you.
And how do we know? Well, when you read the scriptures, it's going to tell you. The month of Bid. See? Shall be the beginning of months unto you. Bid means ear of corn. Do we finish that?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you go to 13. Go to Exodus 13 and 3.
The book of Exodus, chapter 13, verse 3. And Moses said unto the people, Remember this day in which ye came out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For by strength of the hand of Yahawah brought you out from this place. There shall no leavened bread be eaten. This day came ye out in the month of Abib.
Right, Abib. Abib in the Hebrew is Abiyah. So it means ear of corn. And it also can mean spring forth. Come? Ear of corn. Why ear of corn? Because when that barley harvest came in, right, when during that spring period, right, our people would know, okay, it's springtime. Come? When that barley harvest begin to come in,
right.
When spring comes in, we know, oh, it's spring. Okay? Now, Esau would say, well, it's the vernal equinox. See, that's Esau's terminology. But we went according to what? The science. When that ear of corn begin to grow. That's how we knew. See, we were observant people. We were people that observed the signs of the heavens and the signs the Most High gave us when the seasons would come in and everything. So how could a bro say, oh, I got a calendar here that tells me I go according to the almanac that tells me when the new moon is? No! We weren't that kind of people, Just letting you know, we weren't that. I know some of us do it, okay, but we weren't that kind of people. Okay, All right. So the month of Bib, and you got it. Okay, go ahead, read it.
This is the Zion Bears Combat Bible Dictionary definition of Abib. Abib, an ear of corn, the pre-exilic name for the first month of the year. Exodus 13:4, 23:15, 34:18. After the exile, the name was changed to Nisan. It fell upon the time of our March or early April.
There you go. And we know Esau calls it the vernal equinox. The vernal equinox just means when day and night are equal. Okay, when the vernal equinox came in around March 20th, 21st, around that time, you would see day and night were equal. Okay, you can go back and check it out, look it up. Day and night, that's what they call it, vernal equinox. But that's around the beginning of springtime, And of course, the new moon was March 22nd at sundown. So that's what a bid means. That's the beginning. So what happened to January 1st? How come that's not the beginning of the Most High's months? Because it's dead of winter.
That's right.
Everything is dead. There's no barley harvest in the dead of winter. The grass ain't even growing. Everything is dead. There's no leaves on the tree. There's nothing. No fruit is growing. No flowers are blooming. Nothing. That's Esau's world.
That's right.
He's dead. He's the devil. That's why he changed it in Gregorian calendar. It's January under Januarius. Or Janus.
Yeah, Janus.
It was Janus, right? With the Emperor Janus. Okay, or the Greek god.
Janus, yeah.
Greek god Janus.
Janus.
Yeah. That's where they get January from. Janus. A Greek god. And we celebrate New Year's. It's a Greek god, the demon. That's all it is, really. The god is nothing but, Greek god is nothing but demons. You're celebrating a demon's day. New Year's Day. That's all it is. But the real New Year's is the beginning of month, which is a bid. That's the beginning, because now it's spring forth. Everything is springing up. Isn't that amazing? And we had to go through the scriptures and search that out and go through the history and everything and search that out to get understanding, kind of. All right? And so you read all of 3 to 4? Exodus 13, 3 to 4?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Exodus 23, 15.
The book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 15. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded thee in the time appointed of the month of Bid. For in it thou camest out from Egypt.
See? So we came out of Egypt during the time of the month of Bid, and then the Most High showed us the unleavened bread, come. Okay? Unleavened bread meaning there's no yeast anything in the bread, come. There's no leavening agents in the bread, right? Because why? We had to leave Egypt in haste. So we didn't have time to put leavening in it and all that. We just ate the pure bread, right? Unleavened bread. Ate it pure with no leavening agents. Plus the Most High want us to be cleansed. You'd be surprised what leavening does, man, how that adds weight to you, right? It makes you feel full. You know, when you eat cakes and pies and they got all kinds of yeast and leavening agents in it, what that does, if you begin to go on a diet where you just take out all the yeast and stuff of all the breads and stuff and pies and whatever you eat, okay, and crackers and all that stuff you eat, you'd be surprised, man, you'll lose weight. Just by doing that. Not so much you fasting, but you just take out all the yeast and I'm saying the leavening agents of all that stuff that you eat. You'd be surprised how much weight you would lose.
Even with the wine, if you drink like wine that doesn't have the yeast in it, you don't get a hangover and all that stuff.
Yeah. You'd be surprised, man. But you offer somebody with bread with no yeast, they'll look at you like you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, but these are all things we got to come to understanding and learn for our health. Okay. Now go ahead, was that it?
And none shall appear before me empty.
And don't come before the Most High empty. So unleavened bread, okay, which is the Passover, okay. Passover is the feast of unleavened bread, son. When you say Passover, you're talking about the feast of unleavened bread. It goes for 7 days, con. So that's why April 5th we're gonna celebrate the Passover, okay, con, and it goes for 7 days. The first day is the Sabbath, con, and you only have the lamb, unleavened bread, and the bitter herbs, con. That's we do that because that was commanded by the Most High. Read Exodus 12 chapter. That was commanded by the Most High. How we do it. Then the next day, then you could have a meal, but it has to be what? Unleavened. Con? So you got to fix your meal with no leavening agents in it. Right. And then you can have more lamb, or you could have whatever you want to have, but you can't have no leavening in it. It has to be freshly cooked. Another thing, you can't have it overnight. If you put it in the refrigerator, it's been 2 days old, you can't warm that up and eat it. You got to throw it out. See? Because leavening agents and stuff grow into it, right?
Sure.
You got to cook your food every day fresh. Understand? And then the first day is the Sabbath, and then that last day, the 7th day, is the Sabbath also. All right. And then after that, then you can go back if you want to eat, stuff with leavening in it. You could do that. But this is the Most High Holy Day, and you got to remember. It said, remember, wisdom and knowledge, right? It's the stability of our time.
That's right.
What makes us stable? Understanding all of this, because we're the real Hebrews. And the scripture says that the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High. They're waiting for us to do the right thing. We're just not doing it. They're waiting on us. I'm sure all the nations are waiting on us. They know we're the Israelites. Their leaders know. And some of their people know too. But it's not their job to tell us, is it?
I was having a conversation with an Arab dude yesterday. He was saying that he knew that we were the Israelites, and it's a shame that so many of us don't know that who we are.
How can you not know who you are? Whole nation of people, we don't know who we are, man. That's a shame, isn't it? You don't know that you're Hebrews. You don't know your nationality. that's a fundamental right to know who you are. Even children of other nations can tell you, run off their culture, they can run off their language, they can run off their nationality. We can't do that. We always give some kind of, some kind of philosophical answer. Oh, well, African American, Christian, Muslim, Asiatic black man. We always give some kind of magic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We go into all kinds of philosophical. Come on.
Even on applications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even on applications. and they're wondering, how can these people not know who they are? We don't seek wisdom. We don't seek knowledge, right? We require a sign. we want the Most High. Show me a sign, Most High. No, search it out yourself. The nations do it. The Greeks seek wisdom, the scripture says. Israel requires a sign. Most High, you got to show me. Like a lazy bum. Don't want to read nothing. But you'll read a ton of Esau's books, but won't read nothing about yourself. Okay? Okay, so that was it on that, right? That was
23:15.
And then you're going to go to Deuteronomy 16:1.
Yeah.
Now listen to this. There's a word in here that tells you something that we did.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16, verse 1. Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto Yahawah thy power. For in the month of Abib, your power, Yahawah, brought thee forth out of Egypt by name.
Right. So now it said what? Observe. So we know observe has probably a couple of definitions, right? But observe does mean to do what?
Take recognition.
Okay, there you go. Take recognition. Knowledge. And knowledge and wisdom, right? But also observe how? Seeking. Looking, right? Looking. See? How do we know unless we observe the new moon? How do we know that it's there? Unless you see it, right? Observe it. Come. See? You got to recognize it, right? Like you said, you got to recognize it. That's the type of people we were. So you may say, well, the calendar says this. But, yeah, okay. But that's Esau's calendar goes for what, 10 years at a time? I mean, Esau got his calendar way in advance, don't he? How does he know it's going to come like that way in advance? Right? That's why we don't go by calendars so much. We go by observation. So read that one more time.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16, verse 1. Observe the month of Abib.
Now what?
Observe the month of Abib.
Observe it. When does it come in? Well, we know it comes in ear of corn, springing forth. When the springtime comes, we observe it. And when that ear of corn starts to bloom, okay, we know now. Right, go on up.
And keep the Passover unto Yahawah thy power. For in the month of Abib, your power, Yahawah, brought thee forth out of Egypt by night.
See? That's when the Most High brought us out of Egypt. See? So when do we come out of Egypt? During the time, the first month of the year, Abib.
Good.
Between March and April. Con? That's when we came out. So if you want to know when we came out, that's when we came out of Egypt. And we celebrated the first Passover, right? Okay, I mean, our forefathers before Abraham, he celebrated the Passover. Okay, Isaac, they celebrated the Passover too. Come, you got to read the history. Jacob and them celebrated before Jacob came into Egypt, and we were in the land of Canaan, right? They celebrated the Passover. Come, they celebrated the high holy days, out the Feast of Tabernacles. You read the history.
Come.
Okay,
The first fruits.
They celebrated all the high holy days, but it's Most High has shown us when we developed as a nation, come out of Egypt, we're a nation now. Before that, the Most High was dealing with the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But now we're a whole nation. Now he's giving it to us as a nation of people.
Even like when Noah was dealing with the ark situation, it was kind of like a Passover.
Right.
And then when they came out of the ark, that was the first fruits.
Right.
Understand? But Salaki, but the Passover that we're supposed to be keeping is Yahawah's Passover, right? That we read about in Mark 14.
Yeah, that is Yahawah's Passover.
In recognition of him. And in that Passover, if you can't eat that bread unworthily, or you bring damnation to yourself.
Right.
So it's more of an examination of yourself to make sure you're worthy of that offering, right?
Right.
Okay.
But see, that Passover,
right?
And when you read it in the New Testament concerning Yahawah, is pretty much synonymous, because that lamb, when we came out of Egypt, when we killed the lamb, the Most High showed how to kill lamb. Well, that lamb is who? That was symbolic of Mashiach, because who was that lamb? Remember, it says Yahawah followed us in the fire and the clouds, right? Yahawah was always there, right? Because the Most High prophecy said there's going to come a prophet, going to come amongst you. He said, listen to him.
Yeah, that's so.
Don't reject him. Listen to him. He's talking about Yahawah. He was always with us. He was the rock that followed us. So now when you, like the brother said, when you bring it to the gospel, the New Testament, it's talking about Yahawah, but it always was. Who was Moses talking to in the Mount Sinai? Okay? When the burning bush that didn't burn. That was Yahawah. Acts, when you read the book of Acts, it tells you that was Yahawah. And Yahawah said, Moses, come here. Take off your sandals. Okay? For the ground you stand on is holy. Take it off your sandals. That was Yahawah. And he got what he was to tell Moses from the Most High to Yahawah in the burning bush to Moses. Yahawah came to Joshua pretty much the same way. He said, Joshua, come here. I'm the captain of the Lord's host. I am the captain this deal is. Take off your sandals, Joshua. The ground you stand on is holy. I run this. In other words, Yahawah said, I run this deal. Okay? He told Abraham the same thing, Melchizedek. Melchizedek came to Abraham, and Abraham realized this is the Holy One. Okay? Melchizedek meaning Salem, peace. Right? And he said Abraham gave him a tithe, 10% of all what he won from the war, got from the spoils from the war that he had against the children of Sodom. Come. And he met Yahawah, but back then they called it Melchizedek. He met Yahawah on the way back from conquering all these 5 kings. Come. And he gave him 10%. And Abraham built the altar. This was Yahawah. Yahawah was always throughout the history with us. Come. All right. So, again, it said, in the time appointed in the month of Bib, observe. Okay? Observe the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Now, when you go to Numbers 9, (1 to 5), real quick, Numbers 9, 1 to 5.
The book of Numbers, chapter 9, verse 1. And Yahawah spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the first month of the 2nd year, after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, let the children of Israel also keep the Passover at his appointed season. In the 14th day of this month at even, ye shall keep it in his appointed season, according to all the rites of it, and according to all the ceremonies thereof shall ye keep it.
How important is that, right? According to all the rites thereof. So you can't like subtract something. I don't feel like it this time. I don't feel like, taking out the leavening agent. I'm just tired. No, it says all the rites thereof, right? year after year after year, we're supposed to do it. Now, this is the second year. And then now we're coming upon the month of Bib that you're reading about, right? This is the second year coming out of Egypt. Come. And he said, keep the Passover and all the rites thereof. Come. So we really can't half-step. With the Mosiah, everything is too strict, to the T. Come. Can't subtract nothing. Mosiah, I don't care if you're tired, then get away, let somebody else do it. If you're tired, don't come. And Mosiah don't care. Look, the Mosiah keep his Sabbaths, he keeps his Passover. In the spiritual world, they keep all the high holy days. Come, the angels, right?
Come.
We're the ones not doing it, but in the spiritual world, they keep all the high holy days. Come. Go ahead, up.
Salakia. Verse 4. And Moses spake unto the children of Yahawah that they should keep the Passover. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month at even in the wilderness of Sinai, according to all that Yahawah commanded Moses, so did the children of Yahawah.
So, we kept it in the wilderness, okay? So, we wasn't in our land yet. We wasn't in the land of Canaan, but we still kept it, didn't we?
Come.
How about over here in America? Do we still keep it?
Come.
Yeah, you still rehearse the righteous acts. Come. Now, we're not going to be able to do all the rites thereof because we don't have the access to, all the, the cattle and stuff that we're supposed to do the sacrifice. We don't have all the access to that, but we're still supposed to observe it. Okay? So, just like we're trying to observe the Sabbath, right? Just like you observe the dietary law, come. You observe the brotherly laws, come. Right? The civil laws, right? The neighborly commandments, right? Are you gonna rape and rob and murder your brothers and your wives and your sisters, huh? No, you're gonna keep those commandments, aren't you? If the laws are done away with, how come you don't go out there and rape and rob and and think, well, I'm not gonna be punished because the law's done away with. It doesn't matter, right? But no, you saying, no, I can't rob my brother, right? I can't murder him. Right? Because why? Those laws are still, what? Valid, in existence, right? The spiritual laws still apply. So why do churches say the law done away with? Right? So ask your pork chop eating preacher, can I murder my brother? Can I rape my sister? Well, pork chop eating preacher, you say the law's done away with.
Come.
How come I can't do these things and be okay? See? So you got him right there, right?
Should we ask him, can you have his wife?
Yeah, can I have your wife, pork chop eating preacher? Yeah. Then all of a sudden a light gonna go on and say, wait a minute now.
You gotta stop tying.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, how come he don't tell the congregation we're locked away with stop tithing, stop bringing in your donation? But the law done away with. So somebody in the church should ask him that, right?
Come.
To tell him that. How about that, man? Go ahead, up.
Verse 4. Verse 5. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month at even in the wilderness of Sinai, according to all that Yahawah commanded Moses, so did the children of Yahawah.
Right. So now, the Mosiah commanded Moses, and Moses came down and taught the children of Israel how to keep the high holy days and the commandments. Now, again, when you go to Genesis 1:14, because brothers may say, well, the calendar says this and the calendar says that, but the Mosiah said the signs of heaven he gave to us. Okay? And the priests were able to observe, right, Khan? The new moons. And when the moon, the beginning of the months came in. Okay, Khan?
Come.
Go ahead, read that out.
The book of Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. And Yahawah said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs.
For what?
For signs.
For what?
For signs.
Well, if you don't look at it, how you going to know it's a sign? Huh, Khan? You got to look at it, Khan.
Come.
Go ahead, Al.
And let them be for signs and for seasons and for days.
There you go.
And years.
There you go. So we have to be able to, like you said, recognize it. Observe it. See? A state of recognition. Well, if you're not looking up, see, look up sometimes. Well, what's the sun doing? What does the sun do? It rises where?
In the east.
From the east. Well, how do you know that? Because you observed it. How do you know that? And sets where? In the west. Well, how do you know that unless you observed it, huh? Right? That's why Esau, he realized he got to observe this stuff. Even though sometimes he put in his books lies, but he observed it. See? Esau got these powerful telescopes that can see, right, all into outer space. Come. All into. So he's doing what? Observing. Come. Observing. How do you think he knows the 8 phases of the moon? He observed it with his powerful telescopes. And don't believe the hype. You've never been to the moon. Huh? You can't get out of the firmament. I'm telling you, you can't get out of the firmament. Okay? You can't get out of it. They can't get out of it. Don't tell me you went to the moon back in the 60s, early 70s, but you can't go now. You know what I'm saying?
Now saying Hebrew means deceiver.
Yeah, deceiver, right? All of a sudden you can't go now. And you had those little rinky-dink rockets that you had, and you went to the moon, those rinky-dink rockets you had back then? Come on, man. And I know you said, but they got the space shuttle, but the space shuttle still was not out of what? The firmament. They never went out the firmament. Okay?
Even in the NASA symbol, it's like a red ribbon that looks like a snake tongue that goes through it.
Yeah. Sick, man. Right? So they've never been to, that's why, look at those old videos when you got Aldridge and Glenn and all them so-called astronauts, and they looking and they interviewing them. They look kind of sad. They're looking like, I got to lie? Yeah, because they told me, don't go up there and tell the truth now. We'll take out your whole family and you. Don't tell the truth. And they looking all sad. You just been to the moon and back, and you're looking all sad. Right? So something happened, right? Something happened. They told him, look, don't tell the truth. But Esau never been to the moon. But still, nevertheless, we observe the heavens. So the heavens are for the sign, the 2 great lights, for signs and seasons and feasts. And you got to recognize, you got to go look at it to understand when the new moon comes in. Okay? All right?
Yeah. I have a statement or a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I believe it's very important for us to remember that observing the Passover and eating the Passover is 2 different things. That as Israelites, we observe the Passover, but eating the Passover, if you go in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 27, that eating the Passover unworthily will bring damnation unto yourself. So we can observe the Passover, but if there is problems in your own personal life, in your spirit, in your family's life, do not, I repeat, do not eat that Passover until after you resolve the problems that's in your life. Because you'll be eating damnation unto yourself, and be bringing curses upon yourself by eating it unworthy. It's that important. Right. And that's what I was kind of...
No, it's very important.
They're keeping Slakia. That's why I was trying to bring out, this is Yahawah's Passover. On that note, when we go into 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse, we can read that down from 17.
No, we ain't going to read it just yet.
No, I'm not going to read it right now. Right. But I just said, well, we
can go into a little bit of it.
Yeah, from 17 to the end. That's all I'm saying, but
no, you're right.
It's important because I have to explain
very important,
that. So myself and my family do not, and everybody you around, if there's problems in your camp, if there's problems with your people, think about that Passover before you partake in front of it. If there's problem with your spouse or whatever, have that conversation because you don't want to be partaking of that unworthily. And I think it's important for us to keep that in mind.
Okay.
Right?
Throughout Isaiah 66:23.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 66, verse 23.
Yeah, we finished that, right? 66:23. Come, go ahead.
Yeah. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from the Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Yahawah.
Right, is that it?
Yeah, that's
it. So from one new moon to another, see, all flesh will come to worship the Most High, right? So it goes to show you it's very important. The new moons are important,
right? And
of course the Sabbath. But now, again, when you read in the histories, it teaches you that because we bowed down and went and worshiped other idol gods and followed the Gentiles, that the understanding of the new moons and high holy days would be disturbed. Okay? We will not follow the order thereof of it. And we will lose the knowledge of it. That's why you got some brothers celebrate the lunar Sabbath, some brothers celebrate the 7-day Sabbath. Some brothers already had their Passover. It's dead winter time, but they had their Passover, right? When we know the Passover comes when the springtime, right? In the springtime. So it's disturbed. So, and Mosai said, well, it's going to be that way until we return back to him in righteousness. Okay? And so and this is our issues now, because we have Israelite camps, Israelite schools, but everybody's thinking something different on the high holy days and Sabbaths and so forth. But now we got to come more together as one, right? And understand we need one Passover. We don't need Israelites camp over here talking about Passovers in February, or so-called February, right? In the wintertime, right? We don't need a brother camp over here talking about, well, the lunar Sabbath, right? And another camp over here on the 7-day Sabbath, right? So that's just confusion, right? So that's why coming together is important. And then we cry to the Most High to give us what? The understanding. And then the Most High would give it to us correctly. Okay? So Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha 43 and 6. Right? You got it? Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, right? 43 and 6.
Yeah. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 43, verse 6. Mm-hmm. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world.
And the what?
And a sign of the world.
What is it?
A sign of the world.
And we just read that in Genesis 1:14, right? It's for signs. It's a sign. So that means you're supposed to recognize it, observe it, look at it. I'm going to tell you something. The dark moon, the new moon, was fully dark. You cannot see it. It's hard to see, Con. So you're waiting for what? That little first light. Con? And that's why we observe the new moon, waiting for that little first light. Because why are we observing it? It's a sign. Okay, Con? Go ahead, up.
He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. For the moon is the sign of feast and light that decreaseth in her perfection. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above,
right,
shining in the firmament of heaven, the beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, an ornament giving light in the highest places of Yahawah.
Right. Isn't that amazing? Mosai created the moon. And, of course, the sun and all the signs of heaven, the stars, everything, right? And he said the moon is the sign of the feast also, because we mark our feast by when the new moon comes in, don't we? That's how we mark our feast, and we count the days towards whatever the feast day is talking about. That's how we do it. But if we always continuously go by Esau's calendar, that's going to throw us off. What the Most High told us is going to throw us off. Because while we following the ways of the Gentiles. He said you're going to be thrown off. You said it will not be in order and you'll be disturbed. Okay? The Book of Jubilees tell you that. The Book of Enoch, they tell you that. Okay? As soon as we started going after the ways of the Gentiles, we're going to be thrown off with the high holy days and new moons and Sabbaths too. It says Sabbaths too. Okay, come? All right. So that's very important, man.
You want verse 10?
Okay, go ahead. Read 10.
Verse 10. At the commandment of the Holy One, they will stand in their order and never faint in their watches.
So so what? The angels, what, watch over the sun, the moon, the stars, right, Con? And when you read the history, they tell you there's angels commanded to watch over these signs in the heavens and the luminaries in the heavens. The angels are commanded to watch over them. So they don't miss a beat. Okay, the sun does not miss a beat. The moon doesn't miss nothing. It does what it does every day, all the 8 phases and the phases of it and everything. It hasn't missed nothing. The stars, okay, the planets, they do what they do. It hasn't missed anything. The days, the years, okay, they got these different portals in the spiritual world, okay, that the angels are commanded to watch over, and it doesn't miss a beat. So the only ones that really missed something, we missed it. We did the wrong thing, right? Down here in the earth, we the ones that's missing everything. It hasn't changed or done anything different from the time we came out of Egypt, giving it the law, statutes, and commandments up until now. Nothing has changed. The moon's been doing what it's supposed to do every month. The sun does what it does every day, every month, every year. Ever since the creation, actually, right, son? But we are the ones that messed up. We changed. So the Most High doesn't change, huh? Okay, go ahead. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So the Most High doesn't change. And Psalms 132:13. Again, the Most High's house is in Jerusalem. So that's why we say when the new moon comes over Jerusalem, hangs over Jerusalem, then we know we're in the new moon, con. It doesn't matter what part of the earth you're in. You know when the Most High has it in Jerusalem, you know, then that's when it is. Con? That's when it is. Now, the new moon, when it appears over Jerusalem, by the time it gets to the Western Hemisphere, it's about a day or two that already elapsed, con? So you have brothers celebrating the new moon when it already appeared over the house of the Most High. It already appeared. So now you're waiting another day or two. So again, we're thrown off, aren't we? Because we want to say, well, Esau's calendar says this today, but the Most High had already brought it forth 2 days earlier, right? Okay? And so now you're thrown off. Brother, I'm celebrating the new moons today. The calendar says such and such when it already came 2 days, a day earlier, or 2 days earlier. And that's what we've been doing because we're thrown off because why? We've been dispersed out of our land throughout all the different regions, and now you're going according to the Chinese New Year. You live in China. You're going according to the Russian New Year. You live over there. European ways, you know what I'm saying? Calendar. Okay, the Western Hemisphere calendar. You're going according to that. The Arabs got their own they got their own New Year. The Arabs. Okay? Read the Chinese year. They're not in the year 2023. Y'all heard about that, right? They're not in that year. They're in a different year. The only time that the reason why they observe, they understand that when the year 2023 to them, because their diplomats deal with the rest of the world. They deal with the Western Hemisphere, right? So that's why they still deal with the year, whatever current so-called year it is. But according to Chinese culture, they're not in 2023. Gone? According to some of these Arabic cultures, they're not in 2023. That's Esau's thing. Yeah, 2023. Gone? See? So, but if you live in China, if you live in those Asian countries, you're going to think it's whatever year they say it is, right? Thrown off. I'm saying, if you live in Arab countries, you're going to think you're in the year they say it is, because you're going according to their culture and their customs. So we're thrown off. Go read that up.
You want 9 and
13, 14. Psalms 132.
Okay.
What did I say?
I thought you said 9 or something.
Oh,
132.
132, 13, and 14. Psalms.
The book of Psalms 132, 13 and 14. For Yahawah have chosen Zion.
He chose who?
He hath chosen Zion.
America?
Zion.
Europe?
Zion.
The Arabs.
Zion.
He chose Zion. Go on.
For Yahawah have chosen Zion. He have desired it for his habitation.
See? So if the Most High dwells in Zion, and we know that's Jerusalem, Israel, right? That's his habitation. So if the new moon comes over Jerusalem, I would think that's more accurate than anything else, come?
Correct.
And we have our contacts in Jerusalem, so when they see it, they let us know, they call us up, and they let us know. The new moon is here. So that's what we're going by now, huh? Okay? Because before we started doing that, there was so much confusion when the new moon would come in. So you're safer that way, isn't it? It's over the house of the Most High. It's where he dwells. So when it comes over there, then you know you pretty much, boom, you're safe. Gun, you can say we're in the new moon. Even though we're over here in America, the Western Hemisphere. Gun, go ahead, up.
This is my rest forever.
Where's the Most High rest?
This is my rest forever.
For how long?
Here, forever.
A short period of time.
Forever.
Say, go ahead, up.
Here will I dwell, for I have desired it. I will abundantly bless her provision. I will satisfy her poor with bread.
Yeah, see? The Most High said he dwells there forever. So when the new moon comes over there, then you're pretty much safe. And then that's all we're saying. You're safe. And so if you say, okay, well, the new moon's over Jerusalem, but Esau's Gregorian calendar says it's 2 days later. Well, if you celebrate it when it's seen over Jerusalem, you're safe. Come. You got to follow Esau's calendar. Right?
Come.
Follow the Most High's calendar. See? In the Bible, right? Follow what the Most High teaches in the Bible. You're safer that way. Right? And then what the brother brought out about, go to 1 Corinthians 11. Real quick, the brother brought it out, just to add to it, then that's it.
Read my
11:24.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 24. And when
Salakia, can we start up a little bit?
we're at,
We've run out of time.
I know, but please,
2:30.
start is important.
Okay.
Start up at 18 because I need this lesson to be heard. Because we're coming upon
Okay,
Passover.
stop
and
18.
we
Just
have
read.
to
I'll
get
tell you when to stop.
A better understanding of what this
Okay.
Passover really is. And our
Sure.
congregation when we're dealing with our brothers and our sisters. Khan?
come.
All right, thank you. Kawada.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 17. Now in this that I declare unto you, I praise you not that ye come together, not for the better, but for the worse. For first of all, when ye come together in the church, I hear that there be divisions among you, and I partly believe it. For there must be also hearsays among you, that they which are approved may be made manifest among you.
So hear what the Most High says. Come together for the better, not for the worse. So he's saying, see, you know, you got a lot of our people that stay and watch, and they're on YouTube or whatever, but he said come together. Didn't he say come together?
Come.
For the better. See, coming together brings what? It brings the spirit of Hamashiach Yahawah around us. We're coming together in unity for the truth's sake. Understand?
Come.
So it'll breed the brotherhood that we're looking for. But if you're just going to sit home all the time, this is what we were talking about before, right? You're going to sit home all the time, and there ain't going to be no brotherhood. See? And then next thing you know, you'll be complaining, well, you're not a brother. Where it go? Come around.
Come.
I'm saying come around. But the Most High understands if you got things to do, he understands that. But the Most High don't want to hear you can't come around because you're over your job. You don't want to hear all that all the time. Because that's the excuse that we always give, right? Yeah, I got to do this, I do that, I do this, that. Most High put us in this condition. But can you sacrifice?
Come.
And come around sometimes for the better, right? Go ahead, Al.
Verse 20. When ye come together, therefore, into one place, this is not to eat Yahawah's supper. For in eating, everyone taketh before other his own supper, and one is hungry.
So he's saying, you don't come together for the Passover. You're not coming together for that. What are you coming together for? You want to be seen. You're coming together for your own individual. You're a narcissist. You want to be loud. You coming for your own recognition. Next thing you know, nobody has seen you in a month or 2 or 3, and you come, Yahawah, show me, I will shine. You know. So you're not coming together for that. That's what he's saying. You're not coming together for the true purpose of coming together for the Most High's Passover and Yahawah Shai. Come. You're coming together for something else. You come in like a thief. Right? You're coming in like a thief. That's what you're doing. Right?
Verse 21. For in eating, everyone taketh before other his own supper, and one is hungry, and another is drunken.
How about that? You're doing it for yourself, right? One is hungry. You coming just to eat. Didn't Yahawah say, "What are you coming for? You coming because I'm feeding you, or you coming for the truth?" Remember, he fed them with fish.
God.
And he said, "What are you coming for? For the truth, or are you coming for just to be fed?" And some of us are coming just to be fed up. But they give the appearance that they coming to do what? Be brotherly. But they're not. All's in deception.
It's got to come in sincerity.
You got to
come in sincerity.
Well, you don't think Yahawah knows you?
You got to come in sincerity.
Like you gonna hide something from the Most High. You know, you can hide it from us, but the Most High see it. Okay, going up.
What have ye not? Houses to eat and to drink in?
Yeah, go to your own house. You're gonna do that. If you're not gonna come in sincerity, go to your own house and eat. The Most High don't care. Just stay away. You're better off staying away if you're going to be like that. You're better off going up.
Or despise ye the church of Yahawah and shame them that have not? What shall I say to you? Shall I praise ye in this? I praise you not.
No, I don't praise you. You're nothing. If a man think himself to be something when he's nothing, you deceive yourself.
Come.
So don't come to the Passover and stay home, man. Just stay home. You're better off. See? And to bring that deception into the spirit of brotherhood in Hamashiach Yahweh, you're better off staying home. See? Going up.
For I have received of Yahawah that which also I delivered unto you, that Yahawah Shai Hamashiach, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread, and when he had given thanks, had break it, and said, Take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me.
Right, so you got to understand, this is the Passover now, right? Yahawah Shai was born on the Passover, and he was crucified on the Passover, come? So this is why he had Judas Iscariot to do what he did, to deliver him to the Romans, because he had to be crucified. Yahawah Shai had to go through this,
Good.
so that we can receive what? One, the gospel, and Yahawah Shai being the mediator for us, and also three, so the Comforter could come and give us the spirit of truth.
Come.
If he didn't do that, we wouldn't have these things. Come.
Come.
So he had to do it. So he said, Take, eat. This is my body. The food that we, so at the Passover, when we go to the Passover, the food that we eat represents Yahawah Shai's body.
Come.
The lamb, come, unleavened bread, it represents Yahawah Shai's body. It represented Yahawah Shai's body when we came out of Egypt, come.
Come.
That was the actual lamb. It represented Yahawah Shai's body then too. Okay?
Come.
The blood on the seal of the door represented Yahawah Shai's blood. Right? Come?
Come.
So now, today, Yahawah Shai's blood is represented how? Here to there. See, the word. This is the word came through Yahawah Shai's blood. Come?
Come.
All right, so you got to understand it. But it's going to tell you about the blood now. Go on.
After the same manner also he took the cup, when he had supped, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink in remembrance of me.
So now, of course, at the Passover, we always have like some wine, some kosher wine, whatever. So that represents Yahawah Shai's blood. Take, drink. This is my blood. It represents what? The New Testament. See? Because the Testament isn't a force unless what?
The death of
bloodshed.
The death of the testator.
Exactly. There has to be bloodshed. There's no redemption without bloodshed. So it's more force. The gospel is more force now. The New Testament, that Yahawah Shai was sacrificed on the cross for the nation of Israel. Now it's of more force. So this is, you're going to take this as nothing. This book is alive.
Come.
This book has blood. This book is blood in it. Right? Blood in it, man. Go ahead, up.
Verse 26. For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do Yahawah Shai's death till he come.
See? So that's why we do it. Now, who are these brothers that say, don't celebrate the Passover, don't rehearse, you know. But it says we do it, and we rehearse, right? Does it say the word rehearse? Or we celebrate, right? Okay.
For as often as, now it says in remembrance.
You remember, that's what I meant. Okay.
After the same manner also he took this cup when he had supped, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do you as often as ye drink it in remembrance of me.
So you do it in remembrance what? So you're rehearsing,
Come.
You do it in remembrance. You do it, you're practicing, you do it, come. Tell Yahawah comes. That's why we do it. Now, some of us, some camps, whatever, might have it wrong, but still, they're trying to recognize and rehearse the righteous act.
Come.
That's the main thing. That's the main thing, right? Try to rehearse and recognize the Passover. But you also got to recognize that it does come in the springtime, not the winter. You got to remember that too. Okay, so as often as ye show Yahawah's death till he come, do it in remembrance of him. Go ahead up.
Verse 26, For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do to show Yahawah's death till he come. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of Yahawah unworthily, shall he be guilty of the body and blood of Yahawah.
And so how do you do it unworthily? Well, you come in and you're not brotherly. You treat your brother wrong. Or you had a problem with your brother, and you come, and before you solve it, you still come to the Passover.
There's divisions among you.
Right, there's divisions.
So that has to be straightened out between
before,
brothers.
right. That's why you say take your.
I'm sorry.
Take your gift and bring it to the altar first.
Right.
Okay. Don't bring it to the altar until you do what? Solve your situation. Then you bring your gift to the altar. Then you come to the Passover. So Yahawah is really saying, don't even come to the Passover unless you what? Solve your problem with your brother.
You got to resolve issues.
You got to resolve, unresolved issues. That's what he's really saying, huh?
Don't eat the Passover.
Yeah.
Don't eat the difference. You got to observe the Passover.
Right.
But don't eat the Passover.
Right.
And
don't come around your brother, because of course everybody's going to be at the Passover. So how you going to come around your brothers, and you got issue with brothers, and you haven't resolved it yet?
Right.
So try to resolve it before the Passover comes. That's what it's teaching us. Okay? Because the Passover also represents a new, right? Because it's in the month of Bib. It's a new year. It's the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You're trying to purify yourself, cleanse yourself. You're going to eat bitter herbs. All this is about cleansing, right? So it's a new. So try to renew your brotherhood with your brother. Okay? And this is what this is talking about. But now if you don't do that, if you don't do that, that means he said what? You're eating it unworthily. You're eating the Passover unworthily if you don't do that. Right, Con? And again, like we said before, some brothers come in like thieves. They're using deception. Unworthy. Okay? Going up.
Verse 28. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of the bread and drink of the cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning Yahawah's body.
Right, see? So you're bringing damnation to yourself if you do this. And you got brothers that do this every year, man, and you're bringing damnation to yourself. Now, you may say, well, I know I'm an Israelite. I know I'm in the truth. But what are you doing? You're bringing damnation to yourself because you're not resolving the issues you have with your brother. That's highly important. All right? Resolving those issues, that's highly important. Because if you can't resolve the issue with your brother and you got hatred towards your brother, the Most High said, well, I charge you with murder. And you know the punishment for murder, what that is, right? But that's what the Most High charged you with. Now, you didn't actually murder nobody, but you hated him. So the Most High charged you with murder. Come? So that's why it's very, very important. How are you going to serve the Most High and you can't serve your brethren? You can't do the right thing amongst the brethren who you see. Like the scripture says, you haven't seen the Most High, but you see your brother, and you can't go to your brother and resolve an issue. How are you going to come to me? You haven't even seen me.
You're following the holy ground.
Yeah. Right. Right. You defile, yeah, because your brother is holy. Now, look at that now. Okay? Because we say the Most High is holy, Yahawah is holy. So now you bring it down now to your brother. He's holy too. Or he should be striving to be holy too, right? In other words, pure, righteous. So your brother's holy too. So now you're going to treat him, understand what I'm saying? You're going to treat him wrong? Most I said, nah, man, you ain't getting away with that. See? That's why the 2 commandments are what? Love the Most High with all your heart, with all your soul. And love your brother as you would love the Most High. Love your brother also the same way. Because the Most High made your brother in his image. See? Understand? Okay, go ahead, Representative.
For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning Yahawah's body. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. But when we are judged, we are chastened of Yahawah, that we should not be condemned with the world. Wherefore, my brethren, when ye come together to eat, tarry one for another. And if any man hunger, let him eat at home, that ye come not together unto condemnation, and the rest will I set in order when I come.
Right. How about that? Okay. So all praise to Yahawah Hashem and Mashiach Yahushua. Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Okay, you wanna?
If you want to come fellowship with us, we are here at 19 Lamson Lane in Newcastle, Delaware, at Rose Hill Community Center, classroom 110. And if you would like to give any donations or free will offerings, you can give that at hashtag Hebrew Chosen Elect at Cash App. And we will be observing the Passover on the 5th of April at sundown. And that will be the beginning of the Feast of Unleavened Bread as well. And we'd like to say all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yahawah in the name of Yahawah, and greetings to the 12 tribes of Israel. May you all have a blessed week and a blessed Shabbat. Kwam Yashala! Kwam Yashala! Kwam Yashala! Kwam Yashala! Hashem Yahushua!